Hey there, and welcome to Second Lunch Podcast. This is episode 20 with any luck, if Jake hasn't fucked it up
Woo.
already. He just fucked up the last take, and it was gold, too. There was a whole bit about basically just being abusive to him, actually, and how it's not a hostile work environment if it's art, which it is because we're recording.
Right, if it's baked into the show, it's like a Jackass thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's also not sexual harassment when I tell him how good his butt looks today. But we're going to move on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Let's jump right into Tinderella.
All right. So, do you find the word cocktail strange?
I don't like the word cocktail. I just
the
say
tail
drinks.
part, right?
Just say drink. Yeah, love the cock part. You had me at cock, lost me at tail. Just say drinks. Let's go get some drinks, or like have some beers or whatever. Like when people say cocktails, I'm like, what are you?
Well,
One, what are you gonna drink? Two, why are you afraid to say martini?
so you're saying it's more specific but not specific enough? Because if you say drinks, that's really broad. This is like an all squares or rectangles.
Right.
But not all
What are you
rectangles
trying
or
to get
squares
me
sort
to
of deal.
drink?
Yeah. I mean, you seem a little too off-put by it, but
Well, that's because also cocktail is a word used by a certain person, at least in my
I
experience.
use that word.
No, you've never. Not to me. You've never used
Well,
it.
because when we're shotgunning beers for the show, it's just not the appropriate, it's not the term du jour at that point.
Yeah, and also you and I usually drink beer unless I'm forcing tequila on you.
Which
But
is also not a cocktail.
But anytime somebody's like, let's go get some cocktail, like that's how I look at some cocktails. It's all like swarmy and weird and kind of gross.
Okay, if you like frat boy it and you turn your fitted hat around and you're like,
Don't you want
go get some
cocktails?
Like,
And it's like,
I'm not going to the Denny's lounge with
yeah.
you.
For starters, I'm not letting you touch my drink. I don't know what you're trying to put in here. But yeah, it just weirds me out every single time. It seems like they're on some weird mission that I'm not on board with.
Do you know the etymology? You know the origin of the term cocktail?
Nope.
It's a silly one. They don't know for sure, but the most likely origin is that back in the day, if you had a non-thoroughbred pony, their tails would be cocked to like sort of indicate that this is a non-thoroughbred. And so a cocktail became associated with like basically it's not purebred. So in the world of spirits, right, you're drinking a glass of whiskey. That's whiskey, but you mix it with something, now it's a cocktail. Now it's been, muddled.
Call it a mixed drink, you fucking idiot. Why are we bringing horses in here? This is ridiculous. That makes no sense.
I mean, this is early 18th.
This is people just wanting to be able to get away with saying cock, I think.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that too. You got to give the people in the 19th century a little bit of credit.
Yeah, see?
They didn't have
Cock.
They didn't even have radio. Like, they got to give them the little bit of comedy they can find.
Okay. That word doesn't weird you out at all.
No.
Fuck, it weirds me out, man. I do not like it.
You haven't watched the Tom Cruise movie about 130 times? I mean, what you're missing out, man. Basically, he makes fancy drinks for 95 minutes. It's one of those 80s movies that you could just make based on a single word or like a general premise, like Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, where it's like he's arm wrestling. And you're like, that's the movie? Yeah, that's a movie.
It might be the tail part that's fucking with my head.
The tail part's what weirds me out because I'm always thinking of like a shrimp tail.
But then if I say that I'm same here,
Like a
same
shrimp
here,
cocktail.
exactly the same thing. But then if I say I'm weirded out by the word tail, I feel like it's weird that I'm not weirded out by the word cock being in it, because cock shouldn't go in your drink.
Well, 4th of July is coming up, in fairness. Depends on how you like to party. Okay. If you were a graffiti artist, what would be your tag? And this is generally, it's like your 4-letter. You got limited.
I was thinking a lot about this, and for one, I would definitely use my junior high rap name, which was Not So Slim, which started out as a joke because my buddy got a bunch of recording equipment. His parents bought him because they were getting divorced, and they had to give him nice stuff so he would not be sad.
What's it like getting divorced, but you're not poor? See, that's the element I don't understand. There's no currying favor with us via Batmobiles,
2 Christmases, 2 shitty Christmases.
Chili Mac tonight.
And so I recorded some rap songs as like a joke and then posted them on MySpace like you do. Mm-hmm. But then I started getting made fun of at school because people didn't understand it was a bit. They thought I was for real, and that made me mad. So then I did it for real. Dropped a fire
You, like, hate
track.
fucked them with a rap?
Yeah. And then people were like, oh, that was actually kind of good. And then I was like, well, this is still not what I wanted. So then I made a diss track to myself. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
this
I would
is
be
before you got on medication.
not so slim, but yeah, it was a whole lot of different.
What you're telling me.
Whole lot of different Chris's happening at the same time. But I was thinking, what would my graffiti look like? And I think, you know how Georgia O'Keeffe drew like female genitalia, but they were flowers.
Yeah.
I'd be doing that with dicks, but like fruits, different fruit arrangements to look like dicks.
Well, I'm glad that we'll finally get, because invariably you'll have to get deeper into that. It can't just be cucumbers and bananas. You know, you're going to have to get creative. So let me know when you do the star fruit one, because I want to see how you work the head. Yeah, for me, my tag would be rash. Just rash. I feel like it's not taken.
Why? Does it stand for anything?
I think
or
it
just
says it all.
It's in your heart.
Yeah, it's no, does it stand for anything?
Yeah. Why did this guy pick rash?
No, sir. No, just it would be. I think that speaks to a lot of people. Like creed or color, regardless. This has happened to you, probably.
Yeah, I've had a rash before. Been there. That's really what I want people to think when they see my graffiti.
I want my
rash.
graffiti to be the work that brings Israel and Palestine together.
I just want to make Israel and Palestine horny.
Again, rash. Are tacos a meal?
No, tacos are not a meal.
What if you eat 8
I'm
of
not
them?
saying I don't like tacos.
What if you have a side salad?
See, that's not tacos, is it? That's something else.
Okay, well, any one course meal is not a meal. You can't
sandwich.
That's not a
Hoagie. That's a meal.
Well,
Done.
hoagie is the bread, but no, I think that if you're talking about a meal, it's got to have a second
You're gonna
thing.
get
It's got to have a
technical
bag
with
of
me
chips.
about a big sandwich right now.
Technical. This whole show is about us bullshitting for a fucking hour about nothing. Yeah, meal requires the over/under is 1.5 motherfuck things. There's a reason that McDonald's sells French fries. There's a reason you get potato chips at Subway. 1.5 motherfucking sides. Or, excuse me, courses. Hey, if you throw the chips on the sandwich, all gravy. But yet, that's the meal requirement.
Okay, so then tacos are definitely not a meal.
I agree with you there. I think if you eat 8 of them, it becomes a question.
Right.
Once you eat 1,500 calories worth of anything.
But should you be eating 8 of anything? That's what I told Katie the other day. She's like, "You want tacos?" I was like, "For a snack?" And she was like, "No, for lunch." I was like, that's not lunch. I'm gonna need a burrito. Tacos cannot be a meal. So I had 2 tacos and a burrito. and
that is a meal because the tacos are now the side.
Right. Thank you. See, sure. So I'll concede that.
All right. We're
Then
coming
later,
to agreement.
later she was like, because we had this argument, which is why we're talking about it. And later she was like, "Oh, I'm so hungry." Like around dinner time, she's like, "I didn't really eat." And she stopped because she knew what she was about to say. She didn't really eat lunch because all she had was tacos. Tacos are excellent, but they are not a meal.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so if you go to a taco truck and you're ordering, street-style tacos, how many are you putting away? I'm going half a dozen.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 6. It's at least 6.
I am going
That's
to
me
die
being
so
dainty.
fucking young.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah, I'm just going to reflect on my cardiac health for a minute. Hope 48's cool because 49 ain't coming. How good are you with directions/navigation?
Navigation, I can figure out where I am and like where I need to be. Like if I get lost and don't have access to a phone or whatever, I tend to be really good at finding my way back to where I need to be. Mm-hmm. Directions, fucking terrible. You start telling me street names and stuff, I'm like, why are these words? I just tell me where to go. Tell me where there are things. Like if you tell me in 4 blocks there's going to be a Dairy Queen on my right, I'm like, okay, see, now we're talking. I understand Dairy Queen.
I understand where you're coming from because the grid system is one thing, but if you've ever been like up on the hill in Queen Anne, it's like one of those places where neither of the streets, neither the avenue nor the street has a number. You're like, I'm on the corner of Queen Anne and McAdam. That means I'm approximately 9 miles from fuck all. What's the next fucking street? Are they in alphabetical order? Like, where am I in the universe of Queen Anne?
Go left until you get confused, then go right for 3 minutes.
Yeah. At the top of the hill, the street is actually a loop around Queen Anne, too. God, I've been on this forever. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking bad with navigation / directions. I mean, I'll get there, but my brain has definitely been corrupted by GPS systems, which is funny because I used to travel like 1 week per month for my work. You end up in all these places. You don't know how the fuck to get around. Don't know how I was surviving at that point, but yeah, I can't get fucking anywhere.
Right. I know where I'm going. I can't help you get any place.
Yeah. How do I get to your place from where you are? This is like a reverse math problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck.
3 candy bars.
Yeah.
You're going to need to start driving.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
I can't explain how many drugs I would need to do to squeegee my third eye clean to even begin to tell you how to get to my fucking
I'm going to go
house.
outside and start waving. Just tell me when you see me.
I'm in Bellevue, so fucking bummer, man. I hope you figure that out. Come to my place for the barbecue. Okay. I'm just going to go seamlessly into this Mike story here. So, when we first moved here, my dad owned this yellow truck and tried to sell it to a guy, and made the mistake. Guy had the truck before the title was, fully moved over. Fucking rookie mistake from an alleged criminal. What is this? Is this day one stuff? Come on, did you just get to Honey Bucket University? You don't understand? So instead of getting the police involved, because there's a litany of reasons why he wouldn't want to do that, in the middle of the night, he went to the guy's house, and the guy had chained the truck to his porch, knowing this is Mike, this is probably not the end of this. So, yeah, Mike just attached a U-Haul to the front of his truck and then towed it off along with part of the porch. And he drove about 10 miles back. At that point, so he got about 5 miles away, make sure he was free and clear to then detach the couple pieces of lumber that were still
That had to be a confusing 5 miles for all the passerby.
Oh, the thing is, when you're doing something like that in Everett in the mid-90s, that's got to be
you didn't say
quasi-normal.
Everett. Never mind.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just Monday.
Yes. Yeah, I don't actually have great details for that one, so I could just rattle off another Mike story.
I have some questions.
Oh, okay.
Did anybody get in the truck? Did he still have keys?
Oh yeah, he hotwired it. Mike hotwired.
So he had to tow it for 5 miles. At some point, he would have had to brake. So was the truck just crashing into the back of the U-Haul?
Oh no, he had it like properly hitched up to his U-Haul. He didn't put it on a rope or something.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
That would also be pretty funny though. But no, he.
I'm amazed at how stealthy he was. This guy didn't fucking hear this happening.
Yeah, I think it was a larger piece of property. I had been there once. I vaguely remember the layout outside, but yeah, I mean, it's funny because this is the same Mike that also one time he tried to abandon a vehicle that he didn't want to sell it, just tried to leave it at the Goodwill, as one does with their garbage, and took a shovel and like scraped off the license plates. Fuck VIN numbers. But he also, this is like 1998, he left mail in there.
I also like that he didn't think about maybe getting a screwdriver to take off the license plate.
He had a perfectly good shovel. Why? It's like when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. Mike is the hammer, and we're removing this with brute force. But nothing came of it. Somebody took that Astro van, no questions asked. Coming up on maybe a future episode, you can decide right now if we want to do it today, but I do have to tell you, the SWAT team showing up, looking for his coworker.
Right now.
Yeah, so
it's episode 20. We're celebrating that.
Yeah, I better crack another beer. Let's get this one ready. So my all-time favorite fight is Shogun versus Dan Henderson. It's an incredible fight. Dan Henderson almost kills him the first 3 rounds. Shogun comes back the last 2. Great fight. About 3 weeks after this happened, I'm getting off work at Ken's Market, and I call my friends up. I'm like, hey, you want to come over? Rewatch this nutty fight? Let's do it. So a few friends come over, and we're watching the fight. We get through the first round, and my dad at this point sleeps on a Murphy bed in the living room. He also is very grumpy when he is woken up by teenagers when he's sleeping on a Murphy bed in the living room. So
when you're living in a van down by the river,
definitely going to be more irritable than sleeping in a queen bedroom and, queen bed in your own bedroom. Yeah. So second round starts and I just hear Mike screaming. And I'm like, did you guys invite somebody? Like, it would have been cool if you told me before they knock on the door and start whatever that is. Everyone's like, no, and a genuine no. Definitely, it's the 4 of us. And he's like, you're not fucking coming in here. And I'm like, oh, that's getting spicier down there. All right, well, fucking come in then. Coley, get down here and tell these guys who the fuck you are. What does that mean? I come down, I'm still in like my shitty $12 polo from work. I like still had my Ken's Market apron on. Like, hello. And just by being clothed, at least having a shirt on and not beer-stained cut-off sweat shorts, they decided immediately, this is the patriarch. We're gonna route all questions through this 20-year-old instead of this guy. And it's the 6'4" guy, and he's wearing an FBI windbreaker. And then there's a guy in just full-blown SWAT gear. But it's only the 2 of them. It's not like a fucking raid or anything. But they're looking for a coworker of my dad's who shall remain nameless for this one. But I have to scrub a couple details here. He had acquired a number of marijuana clones and took them to West Virginia from Washington because it's a lot more lucrative to sell weed in West Virginia because it's fucking sketchy to sell, cost of doing business is a lot higher across the board. This guy got caught within 2 months. They start looking for him and he starts fleeing back to Washington, and they follow him from West Virginia on these felony drug charges. The night before they showed up to my house, they had pulled him over. He fled, leaving his children in the car, ran 1.5 miles on foot, and ripped a fence post out of the ground and struck the taller guy in the windbreaker in the face with it. Not here. Not so here. And I could tell, like, as soon as he told us this story, I can see he got fucking decked. So these folks are in none too good a mood. But they were like, we talked to his wife, said that he might be here. And I was like, that guy is very much not here. I haven't seen him in 6 months. It was not true. I hadn't seen him in 2 months, but there were reasons to not tell that truth. But he definitely was not there. So they believe me because it is the truth. Things calm down a little bit. They're asking more questions, but they are really there to just fucking throw a guy in handcuffs. They're not really there to exchange that many pleasantries. But now Mike's comfortable. This is a rare case where he's not in trouble with a authority figure. So he's like, hey, you guys, you guys want a beer? Yeah. Well, like, I grow weed, but I have a green card. Mike, shut your fucking yapper. I'm going to fucking kill you. So they're going back and forth, and they show him their notes from the case, and they're like, yeah, so, like, his wife said this, and they didn't have my dad's name. It just said drug buddy in quotation marks. Like, that's kind of fucked up, man. My name's Mike. Like, okay, now's the time for you to get a little bit offended.
Now you don't want an alias.
Yeah, now perception of yourself is a problem. Didn't think about that when you got the fuck you tattoo and left your shirt in the other room.
The drug buddy, okay?
So they're yucking it up, and it's a split-level house, and I'm sitting on the stairs that go into the upper level, and you can see into the kitchen from my perspective, but the guys in the doorway can't. Mike can't see it. And I realize Mike has 2 pounds of weed drying on the kitchen table. We have the fucking feds here on weed charges, and, like, the green card does not excuse the felonious amount of weed that he has.
Yeah.
Also, the house stinks.
Yeah.
But I live in it, so I have no fucking idea. Right. So now
nose blind.
Mike is still like, yeah, want a beer? And I'm very worried. Now I'm not able to relax, answer the questions anymore. Eventually we get them out, and I'm like, Dad, did you remember the fuck was in the kitchen, dude? You, like, invited them in and shit. And he's, Oh shit, there's a bunch of weed in there. Yeah, there's a bunch of weed in there, you fucking pothead idiot. Like, good Christ. I didn't even smoke at the time. I smoked 3 consecutive cigarettes. Had I smoked, I would have smoked 25 cigarettes in a row. But, yeah, so anyways, went upstairs, finished the fight. Nobody got arrested.
I wonder what your friends were doing.
They were so confused for 40 minutes.
Oh man, 40 minutes.
They were left upstairs, but they knew it was law enforcement related fairly quickly. What house are we in? Why has he vanished for this long?
Should we flee? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you realized. Did you mean to do the Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
Okay, not here or here so much, but right here.
Because he got hit with a fence post, which always makes me think like 2x4. Like of all the,
must have been a strong guy to just not only wield a fence post like that.
Yeah,
you're not just finding a fence post.
No, he's definitely on that tweaker strength.
Ripped it
ran over a mile, dude. You have COPD. You smoke like a fucking chimney. The fuck did you pull that off? But he did it. He did it. Wonder where that guy is. Probably in med school. Anyways, there's no transition to this. This is going to be brief. Have you ever gone on a cruise?
A couple, yeah. As a kid.
So, they've got all the activities and shit. Stand
I know
up,
they have
whatever.
vanilla ice cream.
That I was old enough to gather that much. But they've got things like trivia and whatever. And Ashley and I we had bought the drink as much as you want pass. So we're just getting shit faced and
as
like
much as you want.
Yeah. And Ashley's like, oh, there's a Friends trivia, and then it's followed by sports trivia. And I was like, all right, something for both of us. Okay, I'll sit through the Friends trivia, see what the sports trivia is all about. The Friends trivia, was good and engaging from what I could tell. I was out of the game, but people knew the answers to the questions is my point. They were tough, but people that knew the show would know it, like fun fucking trivia is supposed to be. The sports trivia was created by a monster and so there's things that would be considered challenging sports trivia, right? Like something somebody could know in theory, but would be really fucking tough. Even like say something specific like Ted Williams' batting average in like 1941. Yeah. Okay, there are some people that will know that. These questions were shit like who won the Sportsmanship of the Year award in the PGA in 2006? Who is finding these questions? and sportsmanship, like it's not now you've gone
That's
outside
such a ridiculous
of the
question.
accomplishments. Well, and they're not
I
even
would just say Lamar Odom. Something I know is wrong, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah, right. Named Chris Farley on like 6 of these.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't lead the league in touchdowns. Well, see, that would be a fun question. These questions were all like psycho. Who was the assistant coach on Duke when they won the 1990 champion? Nobody knows
Tim
that.
Couch's wife's maiden name?
Yeah. Now you're speaking my language. It was either something done by the most psychotic sports fan ever, like Stump the Schwab times a million, or somebody that knew nothing about sports and was like just Googling just whatever the fuck, and nobody got
Old
anything.
People like golf. Old people go on cruises. Golf questions.
The person that won, there was one person that got 2 of the 15 questions. And there was a number of people that got 1. Like I got 1 because they had like a couple non-psycho ones in there.
Because one of them had to be Antoine Randall.
Look, broken clock's right twice a day. If I guess Elway enough times, that fucking horse is going to come up right. He did win the Kentucky Derby that year. I fucking knew it. All right. Chris, I wanted to talk to you about the hackiest thing that your wife or significant other could ask for.
This has not happened to me, thank God. You know how I feel about Parisians and Paris in general. I think there's so many people who it's like it's their dream to go to Paris. I don't fucking get it. It's so romantic. What the fuck is romantic about people sounding like they're barfing when they're talking? I don't fucking get.
I will say I don't find it romantic to be treated rudely by people that don't want me around.
Yeah,
like
or
if I wanted that,
snails. Okay.
If I want to be treated like shit by folks that don't want me there as I drink, I'll just go to a family fucking reunion.
Right.
Yeah, I can get that sensation a lot of places.
Yeah,
I
I
can
go to MedMix. The guy's fucking pissed off all the time, and I love it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to France for
a
that.
fucking bowling alley I've been 86'd from. At least I can Uber back from that shit. What are you going to do when you're stuck in fucking Paris, when you're under the Arc de Triomphe? Yeah, good luck getting home.
And nobody's laughing at my Eiffel Tower jokes? Come on!
Yeah, come on, dude. It was like a huge cock coming out of my backpack. I mean, Jesus, dude. Don't you get it?
I don't know why I'm not going to say it's every woman, because all sorts of people want to go to Paris. I legitimately don't understand.
These are just, women are just the folks that you've dated. And
yeah,
so that's
right. Right, exactly.
No, I mean.
So what is the Louvre?
Yes, and that's like absolutely top of the, like that's something I absolutely must do.
Right, so if you like
point.
art, sure.
Right, but I do understand where you're coming from. Like as a cliche sort of.
Go to Rome.
Well,
go to an actually cool city. I don't understand Paris.
Well, I haven't been to Paris. I've heard Paris is amazing, although I think in Rome you'll probably get treated better. I've heard Rome, though, is quite dirty.
I really liked Rome. The only people who treated me poorly in Rome were French.
I mean, at least
I was going to say Parisians because they were dressed nice, but I don't know that they were.
They could have been from Nice. Yeah. I appreciate the consistency in the conduct, though. No, I mean, I would love to go there, but I understand exactly where you're coming from on like hacky places. Like for Ashley and I. We're going to end up there at some point, but we've only been one place internationally and just haven't been able to afford it most of our lives.
See, I know I'm going to end up there too.
Yeah, but our next trip is going to be to Thailand. But as far as, not doing like a...
That's like white people hacky almost, but...
It can be, but at least if I'm going to Thailand, I have a fiance / wife there, depending on when we go, versus being like a single 22-year-old in Thailand. Sketch.
Right.
That's sketchier than the 46-year-old with the JanSport, dude. This guy needs to be watched. Yeah. What are you doing in Thailand by yourself?
Well, I just got fired by the Cardinals, so I need to spend a couple months here.
You're talking about the Catholic Cardinals? Because that would also be on brand. Got let go by the old... Archdiocese. I fucking tripped on that word.
Well, I would have never thought of it in the first place. So,
yeah, but I mean, I will end up going there. I had a boss at one point that did one of the trips, a type of trip that I hate the idea of. Like when we went to Ireland, which is not the most challenging trip, no pesky language barriers to build my character, but we stayed there for 13 days and we went to 6 different cities and we drove around the whole country. And as much as one can do in the span of 2 weeks, really got to see a lot of different parts of the country. My boss did train trip, went to 4 different countries in 2 days, spent 36 hours in Paris. What the fuck are you going to do there? Eat a baguette under the Eiffel Tower, take a picture, and fucking get back on the train? Why would you go anywhere for that short of a period of time?
Give me 12 hours in Paris, I'll get it done.
No, I need to set aside 2 days for the Louvre. What else I do? Who knows? But I have a bucket list of various paintings and such I got to see in person.
Yeah, maybe I would like the Louvre. You know what? I felt like I don't care about art, but when we were in, for fuck's sakes, I do this every time I forget it. Where's Galileo from?
Oh, that tower they kept him in?
No, for fuck's sakes, this is the second episode.
That's what you get for crossing the church.
Cock in my ass. I always forget what it's called.
The center of the universe. I'll tell you what,
I saw
Galileo,
the
you're the
David,
center of this jail cell.
And I do have to say, the detail on the cock.
Yeah.
It's worth the trip.
I mean, the hands are a little disproportionately large, but hey, what are you going to do? It was
would have been weird to fucking crank with. Anyway.
It was like the first statue of that nature created since Roman times. So,
well, I don't give a fuck about art at all, but when I saw that, it was striking. It makes you stop dead in your tracks, and it was like, holy shit, get it now. So I guess maybe the Louvre would be cool.
Well, I mean, you'd have the opportunity to see things that are truly, truly special. It's not like you're going to see some public art performance. This is really peak shit, so to speak.
I also think that French might be my least favorite language to listen to, but that's a whole different thing.
This is where we truly expose our ignorance, where it's like, I don't like the way that language sounds. What language do you speak? Fucking English, and that's it. Me, uneducated man.
Well,
but
at least it doesn't sound like ooh.
I will, as I've said before, I don't trust a word with more vowels than consonants, and they've really got my fucking.
I also
inner
don't like
workings
German,
going.
but Hitler might have ruined that.
That's. You think you'd like the aesthetics of German if not for that pesky Holocaust?
shouting
I doubt it.
without that pesky Holocaust.
I doubt it.
Ah,
Gonna have to cut that.
that pesky Holocaust. Can we please leave it? Because that's such a good no.
It
Would be such a good title, but it can't be the title.
No,
is the
it
problem.
can't. No.
That pesky Holocaust.
Oh, that one. Like, okay. Not the other. Right. I got that mixed up with the. I thought you were talking about the White Sox. You're talking about the Cubs. I don't know what that means. Okay, Gucci or Greasy, and this is a shout out to Morgan. Professional cricket coming to Seattle.
I'm going to say Greasy because cricket's dumb, but it's going to do well here. It's going to do great here.
I know the rules vaguely, and they're similarly Byzantine to baseball, so I feel like it could work.
Right. See, we got a good baseball following here, and there are so many people from India that live here now. I feel like those two things combined are going to make it super popular.
If there is an increase, Indian Americans or Indian immigrants that are, big cricket fans, then sure. We do have a big melting pot here. I like any sports, the more people that can find the sport that is for them, go crazy. For me, baseball's already challenging enough with the number of games and how boring most of the games are, that another bat-wielding sport just seems like too much for my little heart to bear. But props to you. And I will say that a good cricket bowler is very impressive. To bounce the ball that close to the fucking wicket and strike it is a nutty skill.
Wicket. Oh, my God. Even the words are fucking boring. Oh, fuck.
Look, if I'm going to come here ready to roast something, I'm going to know the fucking nomenclature, all right? I know the terms.
I think the real question is cricket, Gucci or Greasy?
Cricket itself, greasy. Anything invented by the evil British Empire is the greasiest fucking shit. I'm glad that they exported soccer to so many parts of the world so that those people who were fucking subjugated by them could kick their ass over the next century at it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so cool that they haven't won a World Cup in over 50 years, and I hope it's another 150 million, all of the years.
I can't stand the sport, probably because I don't understand it, but I took a lot of Bollywood cinema classes in college.
Nice.
To fill the credits.
Nice.
Just because it was super fun to get baked and go watch 3-hour movies.
Totally different.
There's dance breaks every 30 minutes. It's fucking awesome.
It's dedicated to entertainment.
If you're a listener and you want some suggestions for Bollywood movies, just message me and I've got a couple. But there's some sweet cricket scenes in that. Anyway, so I kind of had some respect for it, and then when I was playing softball a couple years ago, we always had the early game, and there was always a bunch of Indian folks playing cricket right before us, and it was
this is just racist.
The most.
It's not the cricket that's getting you.
The most intense. Well, because I couldn't understand what they were saying, so I didn't know what they were yelling about, but they were involved, right? They were having a fucking blast, way more than softball or baseball I've ever seen. Well, so that it seems intense.
This is why when India plays Pakistan in Test cricket or something,
right.
between the historical issues between those nations, again, British Empire, fucking partition, you fucking idiots. But it's one of those, just like soccer, right? It's one of those opportunities where a former world power, that's right, England, former world power, fucking went out the door with the Suez Crisis. But when that former world power, again, plays a nation at a sport, and they had previously fucked that nation over, like when they lost to Argentina in 1986 in the World Cup after the Falkland Island War. Beautiful. Fantastic. Chef's kiss.
I went to a Sounders game over the weekend.
Oh, nice. Oh, the 0-0 on Saturday.
The 0-0. Which was actually entertaining when you're there. If I were to watch that on TV, I would have.
Yeah, I did watch it on TV, and it wasn't the best.
Oh my!
Wasn't the best game,
but it was fun to watch in person, and I was in the cheering section. I also did. They have a march to the game, which was really fun because it's just a bunch of people
Just drunk and Pioneer
swearing
Square.
in public, and yeah, it was just.
Look at these ruffians.
It was just. I've had a lot of sports experiences in my life, and it doesn't touch like Lambeau Field, but it was something I'd recommend to anybody coming to Seattle who wants to do a sports thing. Do the march, sit in the cheering section. There's this fucking guy in the cheering section, dude.
Big old cock.
I don't know what he was on, but he was right next to the drummer the whole time, and they're doing chants the entire game. It's nonstop. They're still stuck in my head. And this guy his calves, I don't know how they didn't explode. He was jumping the whole time, and I thought he was going to break the seat he was jumping on. It was, I might have been watching him more than the game, if I'm being completely honest. But
it's amazing what bath salts can do to your fandom, you know.
It was pretty intense.
No, I've had a great time at Sounders games. And as far as like going to an MLS game in this country, I haven't been to them in other cities, but just look at the attendance numbers. Like Sounders games are the place to go if you're trying to go to a stateside MLS game.
Let's see what happens with Messi in Miami too.
Well, yeah, all those games are now. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they've spent enough money now that, is the expectation for them to dominate? We'll see. But Chris, and I feel like we may have talked about this last week, but Jake can tell us if that's the case. I wanted to talk to you about haunting my own Uber Eats driver.
Like, kind of talked about Uber last week.
Yeah, falling asleep in one, but have you ever been the ghost of Uber Eats past? Haunting your Uber Eats driver of the future?
Absolutely not.
So on the way back from the show last week, was on the train trying to time it out, and I'm like, okay, I'll get home, I'll order Uber Eats, and then that way, I'll fucking time it out. Get to my car, start driving home, and I realize, oh, wow, I'm like right in the same place as this Uber driver. Oh, shit, the fucking license plate matches. So now I'm trailing my own food to my house, and this person has no idea, and I've only been following them for like the last 10% of
See, this is how it's supposed to be. Humans used to hunt. You should be trailing your food.
Oi, I think that's a Quesarito on the run. Trying to fucking throw a throwing star at the tire. Oh, we've disabled one of its legs. I'm going to see if I can get some Fiesta potatoes out of the passenger seat.
Oh, we might need a timeout. Oh.
That is what hunter-gatherers did, right? Looking for a Baja Blast in the fucking 4th century. Again, this comes back to the whole giving a peasant a Mountain Dew if I had a time machine. I'm going to fucking blow their minds with either that or like an airhead.
Pop Rocks. Pop Rocks is genius.
That's a Neanderthal brain melter right there. Yeah. Written language. Dude, I'm about to shock them with a single food. But yeah, I ended up...
Oh, how red am I right now? This has to be the time I'm most red. Anytime I've asked.
Okay. Whew. I parked up the street from my own fucking house because I'm like, it's like I'm a private eye trying to find out if fucking Ashley's cheating on me or something. She ordered Taco Bell without... Oh, shit, that's mine. Never mind. Can't believe she ordered it without me. I had 6 tacos in there.
I do understand the avoiding your Uber Eats driver, though. Because anytime I order Uber, I try to make it seem like I'm not home. Until they knock. Don't knock. I told you to leave it at the fucking door. Now you're just making my dog bark.
Yeah, now you're just testing to see. Now you're casing the joint. No, it is best to stay out of sight because, I mean, there's something, if there's 0 people in frame when they see through the window, it's like, okay, there could be 4 people eating this food. But when it's just me watching fights, it's like, he looks really alone.
I did not need to grab this extra thing of forks.
I hope he's not dressed like that with guests. He shouldn't have grabbed the extra thing of forks. Overcommitted on the utensils for this guy. He doesn't even look like he's going to need a single set. He looks like he's going to eat the chow mein with his hands. Fuck, I swear his pants were around his ankles 30 seconds ago. I can see the rings on his... Never mind. You need to drink more water, my friend. All right. This is really just a fact. We've done etymology on the show before, and I just wanted to quiz you on two things, see if you can guess what they are. This one is a really hard one to win too. So, both of them animal related.
I do not know Tim Couch's wife's maiden name.
Call back
if you're asking.
Do you know the origin, and I'll give you both of them right now, of either the bee's knees or the cat's pajamas?
So they're both things that don't exist.
You think it was maybe just cool to just say some shit that's just not a thing? Like the giraffe's machine gun? Yeah. You know, the elephant's machete?
The guacamole's earwig.
It's not even like a living thing. It's like, you know, the coffee table cigar pipe. You know the one. You know how your inanimate shit owns other shit. It's like fucking Beauty and the Beast in here. I lost my fucking shit.
Yeah, cat's pajamas, bee's knees. No fucking clue where either of those came from.
It's funny. Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. Nobody knows. Nobody has
How
any
did it
clue.
catch on?
No, there is just really no. They have, luckily, you know, through historians, we're able to know when these things come about. Like when we were talking about cocktail. First seen in 1799, established as the meaning we know it as in 1806. So it caught on pretty quick. They like know when these things came about, which is like, I think in both cases, late 19th century, early 20th century, you know, and people are starting to get cool, see, and say fucking wacky fucking shit, see? But nobody knows the actual, you know, oh, you know, that's named after Felix the cat or something. Yeah. No, it is just somebody said it one day.
And both of those are said in my favorite movie, Cable Guy, when Jim Carrey's character goes over to Robin's house and he's trying to like make things good for his buddy, right? He's like, you know, Steven thinks you're the bee's knees. He thinks you're the cat's pajamas. He really does. I think at any time I hear either of those.
That's because he's a comic genius and he knows that both of those things are closely related in a goofy ass fucking way. But yeah, there's really no origin story on those.
Well, that's fucked.
I think you kind of nailed it though. I think that just the idea, like the Aardvark's blue jeans, you know, it's just something they don't own.
Those are the two that they kept. Bee's knees, it rhymes. Let's go with it.
Exactly. We got to go for brevity
Cat's
here.
pajamas, I have a cat. Fuck it.
Do you
wear PJs too?
We were talking about Mike earlier. Do you have any turns of phrase, any metaphors you like to use, anything like that? Like kind of go-to phrases?
For the love of Pete.
That's a good one.
Geez Louise.
Oh, of course.
Holy cow. Fuck my ass. Cock and balls. That's another one.
That is, yes. I do think it's funny when somebody specifies, like in a fight, usually it's a silly writer, but instead of like, oh, he got hit with a low blower, he got hit in the balls, saying he got punched in the dick and balls, like just the whole unit. There's something about specifying that. He punched him right in the dick and balls, and as we all know, that's a
How
foul.
are we supposed to know which was hit first?
Judge Mills Lane definitely is going to give him time to recover because his dick and balls got hit.
That reminds me of Randy and Trailer Park Boys. Like, he's always got some random weird turn of phrase, but my favorite one is when he, like, stubs his toe and he goes, frozen mixed vegetable cocks.
He's trying so hard not to swear. It's like all the different syllables, and you just end with cocks. You almost nailed it. That is fucking fantastic. I know I have a whole bunch of fucking verbal tics and whatever, but I really wanted to use this as an excuse to talk about Mike's, because Mike has all of these terrible metaphors, like colder than a witch's tit, you know, or tighter
That's
than a
Uncle
nun's
Dave's fuck.
hoo-ha or something, you know, just really misogynistic, not very good stuff. Blacker than a sack of assholes at midnight.
Why the sack of assholes? You could have just said midnight.
But that's not as colorful, see? And color is key here.
Why
and
are
also,
they in a sack? Is this Ed Gein? How did we get all these separate assholes?
There's definitely some questions about body part organizations and, you know, a sack full. There's a quantity there. It's not a bag, a container, or an envelope. It is a sack.
Sack means it's over 20 pounds.
Yeah, that's like the Monopoly man's sack of money, but it's
20 pounds of assholes. You know how many that would be?
But it's a dark evening, you know, and so
that really makes it about 10 pounds heavier.
It's raining like a cow pissing on a flat rock. Okay, I understand the visual you're going for
Why
here,
does
but
it have
also
to be flat? There's things that just don't need to be specified.
no. But see, if it's at an angle, you know, it's less splashy. I mean, it's right there.
We're probably gonna cut this part, but this just reminded me of. I love when you're looking. I don't know a good segue into this. When you're looking at pornography.
When you add syllables, it makes it less raunchy.
And you find a title that really tells you a lot more than you need to know.
Oh, yeah, like asshole inhales both testicles. Like, how did it
Well, no, I would like to know that.
How did it breathe? And then it makes one of those sounds?
No,
like,
but it's something like...
remarkable.
The middle-aged landlord punishes redheaded tenant who didn't pay rent.
Who has her wages garnished?
Yeah,
is this a Fiona Apple album
why
name?
do I have
What's going
so
on?
much information here?
It's like 92 words.
Here we go.
When the pawn hits...
Ariana does lots of dirty things in a rented flat and fucks a horny banker.
The flat's rented. That's my favorite detail. Absolutely. She doesn't own this place, so you know she's
And why do I need to know he's a banker?
Yeah, because he's the one that controls the mortgage, you know.
In this rented flat.
The old rim job for mortgage trade. You talked to old blue nipples.
It's the only time I've thought of you while watching porn. I saw it and I was like, I have to share this with Cole.
Oh, Captain, my captain. Are there any words that you think of when you talk about like old folks speak? Like, are there any turns of phrase or terms where you go, that's an old person saying that? I'll give you just one easy one, like an old person calling their TV shows their programs.
Or their stories.
Yeah, stories, that's a good one. Stories
I love
is a
that.
good one.
Their stories is like, okay, have your stories.
It's kind of like a child, you know. It's like, I need to be read to bed, you know.
Yeah.
Need my stories. So,
I don't have any like that I can think of off the top of my head.
Frankfurter instead of hot dog. I mean, that'd be like a easy one.
Yeah, bubbler instead of water fountain. That might just be more of a Midwest thing, honestly.
That might be. That's like a Coke soda thing where it's like a regionalism. I think gizmo or gadget automatically doesn't even matter the context. Like, you could say a bunch of other modern shit if you throw gizmo in there. It's
even
like,
whatchamacallit's gotten old at this point.
oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely an old guy.
Yeah.
I had one other one. It's not necessarily the word, but if you pronounce robot, 110 years old.
110 years old.
Yeah, you were absolutely serving in World War II, but you were probably around for World War I.
I love that. My dad's dad wanted to be called Granddad. That's what he wanted to be called. Not Grandpa, Gramps, Pops, anything like that.
Yeah.
He wanted to be Granddad. And my brother, who was just old enough to talk at the time, thought that Granddad sounded a lot like Batman. So he decided he was just going to call him Batman. But of course, he's just learning to talk. He cannot say Batman. Mm-hmm. So he says Bant, which is what we still call my grandfather to this day.
Okay. Say what you... All your grandpa wanted was to be called Granddad.
Yeah.
And he gets fucking Bam. Yeah. Where did the two B's come from? These aren't even...
Talk to the dumbass 1.5-year-old.
Hooked on phonics, my ass.
Hooked on stupid.
Knocked it out of the fucking park. Ashley's favorite type of joke we do is when we go... Hooked on phonics? More like hooked on stupid. Anything that's more like peak comedy.
Those are my favorite jokes to do because they're the dumbest ones.
Oh, absolutely. And they require the least effort. More like poops giving. Doesn't even rhyme. Not even rhyme with the fucking holiday. Okay, Wikipedia time. Bread dildo. Okay, so on Wikipedia there is a page for a bread dildo, and this goes back to Roman times. So there's some
They
debate.
had so much bread. They're like, we got to get up to something else.
And also, no squash. Like, I know they were up to agriculture, but, like, no zucchini. You know, there's not something that's a little bit, I guess, for lack of a less offensive term, fleshy. You know, bread just doesn't seem like the right texture. A little too
Seems
spongy.
like it would absorb all the stuff you need to keep it lubricated.
Definitely, yeah. You're going to want to be sprinkling some garum on
what
that.
about all the flakes?
Yeah, there's a lot.
And I know they weren't shaven back then, so it would look like you had some serious dandruff down there.
Can you say yeast infection? Hello. My goodness. So, on the bread dildo page, so one thing I think that's important to discuss is they don't know if it's a bit or if it's real. So the word for dildo in Roman is known. The word for bread is known. And so on two different clay tablets, they have found these words conjoined. So that's how they know definitively this was a concept. They just don't know if it's like the propeller on the hat where it's like, well, you're not actually going to fly. You're not actually going to use the bread dildo. It's just a fucking gag. It's like a carrot top bit. But so
they didn't like the French either. Look, the baguette looks like a fucking dick.
I carved it into a cock while I salted their land. But there's one part of this page that is really unexpected that I actually have to open and read aloud. I'm going to turn off airplane mode, and I will edit this out, but you just got to bear with me here. So, bread dildo. Interestingly enough, this actually is not the only instance of bread potentially being used as a means to cause ejaculation.
Well, okay, well, now you say ejaculation.
Now we're broad brush here. The Babylonian Talmud offers another example where bread's used as a means to cause ejaculation. For medicinal purposes, if your urethra is obstructed, the following remedy is suggested. We bring warm barley bread and place it upon his anus, and owing to the heat, he emits semen, and we observe what happens and see whether or not the perforation remains closed. See, I thought he was just going to
prostate orgasm.
I thought he was just going to fuck the bread.
Same here.
Yeah.
I was sure that's what it was about.
Yeah.
I know it's bread, but it's hot bread.
It's hot bread right on your rump, right on the old beehole, right on the old leather Cheerio. And we're going to see if your meatus gets unobstructed.
Jesus Christ.
That's comedy right there. That's
But we were going to have that for dinner.
Had to see if your dad could come through his fucking kidney stone first.
Come through his kidney stone.
Well, because it's just like an obstruction. It's like, I don't know if you're going to be able to ejaculate that shard out of your... Yeah, I don't know. Lot to be unpacked there. Okay, last thing here, and this is the one I don't know if it'll work out, but on Wikipedia I found out that Dusty Baker invented the high five.
How? How does somebody invent the high five?
Great question. I think a lot of it just has to do with nobody else had seen it done, and so you're like the first guy recorded to do it.
Yeah, but it had to have just happened, and I don't know how it didn't happen before. Like it had to have been happening in ancient times. Like cavemen were high-fiving, because it's just an instinct. Like, boom. I knew this guy. I was gonna say I had this friend, but I'm not gonna own up to being a friend with somebody who asks for high fives. I knew this guy who was always asking for high fives. You can't just ask for a high five, right? And it was always over something like trivia. Like, there's a time and a place for a high five. So if the Packers just scored a touchdown, I'm not going to high five for, like, the other team jumping offside. You know what I mean? He would, like, oh, you want to get teriyaki? Ask for a high five. Like, dude, what the fuck? You got to settle down. Why you want me to touch your hand so much, you fucking weirdo?
That's what it's all about.
But it does just happen now. What were they doing before? Just bumping into each other?
That's the big question, is that this invention allegedly occurred in the 70s. And so what sort of celebrations were going on in ancient Rome You fucking touching feet. Like, what is the? I don't know. You locking hands, doing a little dance,
make out a little bit.
Turns out back then they were doing the sort of elaborate defensive touchdown celebrations that we see in the NFL today.
They don't even know what a sprinkler is.
Yeah. Pretty crazy how he did the camera rolling thing like a 1950s camera. He has no perception of either modern cameras or any cameras.
Campfire. Now that makes sense.
The Gero type. That's a terrible joke. Yeah, I think that's. I think this is a great episode. I don't have anything else to say about Dusty Baker. Oh wait, I have one more thing. Fuck the Astros. Till the sun explodes.
I forgot. Yeah. Hold on. Fuck the Astros.
It's funny too because I'm a Cardinals fan, and as you know, Cardinals years ago had picks taken because we hacked their server. I just want to say for the record, we definitely deserve to have those draft picks taken from us. We committed the crime. The Astros, though, made that sound way sexier than it was. The guy that used to work for the Astros worked for the Cardinals and had the password.
Right.
I feel like
Stop using 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a strong use of the term hacking. But anyways, we'll cut this part. That's just me bitching about Cardinals baseball. Second worst team in the NL, baby.
Yeah. Can I get a Jaya?
Go Crew.
All right. Well, that's episode 20, I guess. That's episode 20.
That flew by.
It did fly by. I had a lot of fun. I've never laughed as hard as I did. I thought I was going to pass out for a second, honestly. I thought I was going to lose consciousness.
How'd you get there?
When you said Quesarito, I nearly fucking lost it. I almost lost all composure.
Hunting a quesarito like a gazelle is what our ancestors envisioned. I think there's
podcast. I love it. We talk about the dumbest stuff, and then we say words like discuss, like we aren't talking about the dumbest fucking shit.
I'm telling you, there's a cave painting of a guy hunting a quesarito if you look hard enough.
Oh boy! Well, thank you guys for listening. Episode 20. It's been great. We got stickers, koozies, all that fun stuff for sale. We're going to have t-shirts soon. I have to talk to Cole about that, actually. But we're going to have that sorted out before you know it. Thank you guys for listening and continuing to listen. And if you're not listening anymore, rotten hell.
Bucks and six.
Bucks and six. Love the rest of you. Bye.